हेलो एंड वेलकम टू लर्न विथ हेमास क्लास। माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आज हम करने वाले हैं स्टैंडर्ड 9th का इंग्लिश सब्जेक्ट और उसका 4th यूनिट का 4.4 चैप्टर माय फाइनेंशियल करियर। इस चैप्टर का एक्सप्लेनेशन मैं ऑलरेडी कर चुकी हूँ। उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन का वीडियो का लिंक आप देख सकते हो डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में। इस वीडियो में मैं आपको इस चैप्टर के कंप्लीट क्वेश्चन आंसर्स कराने वाली हूँ, जिसमें आपके वार्मिंग अप एक्सरसाइज, मार्जिन क्वेश्चंस दैट इज इन टेक्स्ट क्वेश्चंस और वर्कशॉप सभी इंक्लूडेड है, प्लस कुछ एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चन आंसर्स जो डूएस डायरेक्टेड पर बेस्ड है या वेब डायग्राम्स है या पर्सनल रिस्पॉन्स है, उस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस भी मैंने इसके अंदर आपको प्रोवाइड किए हैं। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं माय फाइनेंशियल करियर। इसका सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन है, व्हेन यू ओपन अ सेविंग्स अकाउंट एट बैंक यू नीड टू फिल अप डिपॉजिट फॉर्म और फॉर्म स्लिप्स। ऑब्जर्व द फॉलोइंग फॉर्म एंड फिल अप योर डिटेल। अब ये जो है आपका जो स्लिप आपको यहाँ पे दिखाई दे रहा है, ये कोई भी एक नॉर्मल बैंक का स्लिप है जिसमें आप जब कैश डिपॉजिट करते हो या चेक डालते हो तो ये स्लिप आपको भरना कंपलसरी होता है। अब इसी टाइप का स्लिप आप अपने पेरेंट्स को पूछ सकते हो, वो आपको घर पे डेफिनेटली किसी न किसी बैंक अकाउंट में तो आपका होगा ही, तो वहाँ उस बैंक अकाउंट का एक स्लिप जरूर आपको होगा बैंक का। वो स्लिप आप देख सकते हैं और इसमें आप जैसे चाहिए वैसे भर सकते हैं। जैसे डेट भरना कंपलसरी है, ब्रांच कौन सा ब्रांच है, नाम लिखना है यहाँ पे, और अकाउंट नंबर यहाँ लिखा जाएगा। अगर चेक है तो कौन से बैंक का चेक है वो हमें लिखना होगा, कौन से ब्रांच का वो बैंक है, चेक नंबर क्या है। अगर चेक है तो ये डिटेल्स हमें भरने हैं। और अगर कैश है तो यहाँ आप देख लीजिए नोट्स है, नॉमिनेशन है। जैसे 2000 के कितने नोट है वो यहाँ लिखकर टोटल यहाँ कर दीजिए, 500 के कितने नोट है वो यहाँ लिख के टोटल यहाँ कर दीजिए। ऐसे आप सब कर सकते हैं टोटल यहाँ पे। और ये सब तो बैंक ऑफिसर्स के द्वारा करने वाले हैं। लास्ट में आप अपना साइन यहाँ पे कर सकते हैं। दैट्स इट, ये बैंक स्लिप फिल हो जाता है। ये एक एक्टिविटी मैं तो अपने स्कूल में अपने बच्चों के साथ कराऊंगी और आप लोग चाहे तो घर पे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स की मदद से। अब सीधे चलते हैं हम इसके बाकी के क्वेश्चन आंसर्स की तरफ। राइट इन योर ओन वर्ड्स, व्हाई डज द बैंक नीड सो मेनी डिटेल्स ऑफ इट्स कस्टमर्स? The bank needs so many details of its customers to avoid fraudulent transactions and safeguard their accounts. Banks ask questions to its customers on different matters because they want to know them and their life situation so that they can provide good advice and offer banking services suited to the needs of its customers through Know Your Customer (KYC). Banks get information from customers so that they can support banks against crime and bear their share of social responsibility. आप कभी भी बैंक में अकाउंट खोलोगे तो आपको बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन बैंक्स को प्रोवाइड करनी रहती है। बहुत सारे रीज़न हैं ताकि हम बैंकिंग अच्छी तरीके से कर सकें, कोई यहाँ पे फ्रॉड ना हो जाए किसी के साथ में, इसीलिए ये सारे इन्फॉर्मेशन ज़रूरी है। What problems do customers face when they have to make a cash deposit at a bank? अगर कस्टमर्स को कैश डिपॉजिट करना रहता है बैंक में, पैसे भरने रहते हैं, तो क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करनी पड़ती है। सम ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट कस्टमर्स हैव टू फेस व्हेन दे हैव टू मेक अ कैश डिपॉजिट एट अ बैंक आर दैट देयर इज अ लॉन्ग क्यू, लंबी लंबी कतारें होती हैं, सो इट कंज्यूम्स अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, तो बहुत समय लगता है। नॉलेज ऑफ फिलिंग अप द डिटेल्स ऑफ अ फॉर्म इज अ मस्ट, और अगर आपने जो फॉर्म है फिल नहीं किया है प्रॉपरली तो भी आपकी दिक्कत हो सकती है कैश ट्रांजैक्शन करने में, भरने में पैसा। सो समटाइम्स द बैंक सर्वर इज डाउन, कभी कभी बैंक का सर्वर डाउन होता है, फंक्शन नहीं करता है, तो विच कैन बी अ प्रॉब्लम इन डिपॉजिटिंग कैश। मोर ओवर मैनी बैंक्स विल नॉट लेट यू डिपॉजिट कैश इन टू एन अकाउंट विच डज नॉट बेयर योर नेम एज एन अकाउंट होल्डर। कई बैंक आपका पैसा इसलिए नहीं लेंगे क्योंकि वो आपका अकाउंट नहीं है। सो व्हाट आर द लेटेस्ट मॉडर्न मेथड्स ऑफ डिपॉजिटिंग मनी इन योर ओन और समबडीज अकाउंट? तो अभी लेटेस्ट मॉडर्न मेथड्स क्या है खुद के या किसी और के अकाउंट में पैसे डालने के लिए? Some of the latest modern methods of depositing money in our own or somebody's account are: first, ATM counters, withdraw cash at any automated teller machine, check and pay order, electronic funds transfer, standing order, Swift international account transfer, online banking, overdraft banking through apps. आजकल तो बहुत सारे apps आ गए हैं जिसके थ्रू हम बैंकिंग कर सकते हैं, जैसे फोन पे, पेटीएम, गूगल पे वगैरह वगैरह। Make a word register of at least 12 words related to banking. अभी हमें कोई भी 12 वर्ड्स बनाने हैं बैंकिंग से रिलेटेड। जैसे कि बैंकिंग से रिलेटेड हमारे बहुत सारे वर्ड हो जाते हैं, चेकबुक, पासबुक, मनी ट्रांसफर, एनईएफटी, बैंक स्टेटमेंट। तो यहाँ पे कुछ दिए हुए सम ऑफ द वर्ड्स रिलेटेड टू बैंकिंग आर एज फॉलोज: बैलेंस, bank statement, borrower, card holder, credit limit, depositor, interest, overdraft, passbook, savings, telebanking, paying in slip, withdrawal, lending rate, debit, commission, banker's order, credit account, etc. बहुत सारे और भी हैं. अब दिस इज कंप्लीट द फॉलोइंग वेब. द नरेटर गेट्स रेटल्ड. किन किन चीज़ों को नरेटर देख के रेटल्ड हो जाता है? व्हेन ही गोज इनटू अ बैंक, बाय द साइट ऑफ द मनी, बाय द अकाउंटेंट, बाय एवरीथिंग एट द बैंक, बाय द wickets. Complete the following sentences with reference to the passage. When the narrator enters the bank, the clerks, the wickets, and the sight of the money rattles him. The writer had an idea that a person about to open an account must need to consult the manager. The manager looked at him in some alarm and felt that the writer had an awful secret to reveal. Where does the writer want to deposit money and for what reason? The writer wants to deposit the money in a bank. He attempts to transact a business and his salary had been raised to $50 a month. Therefore, the writer felt that it was the only safe place to keep it. Where did the manager lead the writer to? The manager led the writer to a private room where he turned the key. What makes the narrator nervous at a bank? The clerks, the wickets, the sight of the money rattles the writer. In short, everything in a bank makes the narrator nervous. What word should he have avoided in his request to see the manager? In his request to see the manager, the writer should have avoided the word alone. Why was the manager alarmed? The manager was alarmed because the writer told him that he wanted to meet him alone. He thought that the writer had an awful secret to reveal. Who did the manager think was his visitor? The manager thought that his visitor was one of the Pinkerton's men. Vocabulary questions. Give the adjective form of reveal, revelatory, revealable. Alarm, alarming. Pick out an adverb from the passage. Timidly, solemnly. Do as directed. Can I see the manager change into an assertive sentence? I would like to know if I can see the manager. The manager was a grave, calm man. Identify the word class of the underlined word. So grave here is an adjective. Are you the manager? I said. Change to indirect speech. I asked whether he was the manager. What according to you is the role of a bank manager? According to me, the bank manager communicates marketing and sales plans to the employees. He also motivates the staff to meet targets. He understands the need of individual and business customers. Moreover, he makes sure that the staff is following rules and procedures and also deals with customer complaints. It is his job to see that every customer goes back satisfied, thus adding to his business. Complete the following web. The manager felt the narrator was one of Pinkerton's men, a detective, a young Gold, a son of Baron Rothschild. Fill in the blanks. The manager had gathered from the writer's mysterious manner that he was a detective. The manager concluded now that the manager was a son of a Baron Rothschild or a young Gold. अभी यहाँ पे the manager concluded now that the narrator was a narrator आएगा, यहाँ पे manager नहीं आएगा. The writer proposed to deposit $56 then and $50 a month regularly. What did the manager presume? The manager presumed that the writer was one of Pinkerton's men. What did the writer reply to the manager's guess? The writer replied that he was not from the Pinkertons. He said it in a way as though he came from a rival agency. Why had the writer come to the bank? The writer had come to open an account and intended to keep all his money in that bank. How much amount of cash did the writer propose to deposit in the bank? The writer proposed to deposit $56 then and $50 a month regularly. What did the manager call out to the accountant and say? The manager called out to the accountant and said in an unkindly loud voice that the gentleman was opening an account and he would deposit $56. Vocabulary questions. Give the noun forms of presume, presumption, whisper, whisper, intend, intention. Give the antonyms of rival, ally, partner, draw, deposit. Grammar questions. We are safe from interruption here, he said. Change to indirect speech. He said that they were safe from interruption there. I knew what he was thinking. Identify the clause. I knew main clause, what he was thinking, subordinate noun clause. I intend to keep all my money in this bank. Change to past perfect continuous tense. I had been intending to keep all my money in this bank. A big iron door stood open at the side of the room. Add a question tag. A big iron door stood open at the side of the room, didn't it? Good morning, I said and stepped into the safe. Change into indirect speech. I wished a good morning and stepped into the safe. Now this is personal response questions. If an uneducated person wants to withdraw money from the bank account as a banker, what will you do? If I were a banker, I would ensure that I am more considerate towards customers who do not know how the banking system. I would teach them how to go about with the process so the next time they too can carry out the same transaction on their own. Complete the following web diagram. When the narrator went up to the account's wicket, the accountant took the money, made the narrator write the sum on a slip, made the narrator sign his name in a book, gave the money to another clerk. What did the writer do after going up to the accountant's wicket? The writer went up to the accountant's wicket and poked a ball of money at him with a quick convulsive movement as if he was doing a conjuring trick. What did the clerk make the writer do? The clerk made the author write the sum on a slip and also made him sign his name in a book. What does the narrator do in tension after the manager directs him to the clerk? In tension, the narrator enters into an iron safe, mistaking it for the door. The manager orders him to come out, thus the narrator makes a fool of himself. What was the writer's idea? The writer's idea was to draw out $6 instead of $56 for present use. What silly error did the writer make in his checkbook and how did he feel after that? The writer had realized that he had written 56 instead of just $6, the amount to be withdrawn, and he was too far gone to reason now. He had a feeling that it was impossible to explain the thing. What procedure did the author have to follow to open the account? To open the account, the writer had to meet the accountant, write the sum on a slip, and sign his name in a book. What was the error the author made in the check? Did he correct it? Instead of writing the amount as only $6, the writer made it a very silly error of writing it as $56 in the check, and later he did not even correct it. Give examples to show that Leacock was feeling completely lost in the bank all the time he was there. Leacock was quite lost in the bank all the time. He was quite nervous and upset when he entered the bank. He was very much afraid of the bank and its clerks. He was acting like a fool. He could not show confidence. He was mentally confused. His condition was quite miserable. He entered the safe instead of going out. He wrote $56 on the check instead of just $6. Vocabulary questions. Give the noun forms of hollow, hollowness, convulsive, convulsion. Give the adverb forms of pale, palely, invalid, invalidly, reckless, recklessly. Make a sentence with coldly and millionaire. The lady of the house welcomed us coldly. Though not so rich, he was a millionaire at heart. These are grammar questions. He took the money and gave it to another clerk. Use no sooner than. No sooner did he take the money than he gave it to another clerk. My idea was to draw out $6 of it for present use. Identify the non-finite verb and state its kind. So to draw, it is infinitive. I was too far gone to reason now. Remove to. I was so far gone that I could not reason now. What do you think are the responsibilities of banks towards their customers? It is an important duty of a bank to pay heed to its customers and take care of their needs. Some of the responsibilities would be to pay due regard to the interests of its customers and treat them fairly. The bank must not disclose to any outsider the details concerning the customer's account, as such disclosures may adversely affect the credit and business of the customer. The banker is under an obligation to maintain accurate record of all the transactions of the customers made with the bank. If a bank wishes to close the account of a customer, it must give a reasonable notice to this effect to the customer. Complete the following web. After the episode at the bank, the narrator banks no more, keeps his money in his trousers pocket, keeps his savings in silver dollars in a sock. State whether the following statements are true or false. If false, correct it. After withdrawing $56, the writer wished to deposit more money into the bank. So this is false. After withdrawing $56, the writer decided to never visit the bank again for any transaction. The writer made a wretched attempt to look like a man with a fearfully quick temper. True. The clerk was not willing to pay the entire money deposited to the narrator. False. Initially, the clerk was surprised, but then he paid the entire $56 amount back to the writer by giving him a $50 bill and the rest in sixes. After hearing the echo of a roar of laughter that went up to the ceiling of the bank, the writer decided not to bank anymore. True. What struck the writer? An idiot hope struck the writer that the staff might think something had insulted him while he was writing the check and that he changed his mind. Why was the clerk surprised? The clerk was surprised because the writer wanted to withdraw the and tie $56 from his account which he had just deposited. How did the writer want to have his money paid back? The writer wanted his money to be paid back in 50s and in 6s. What happened after the big door swung behind the writer? After the big door swung behind the writer, he caught the echo of a roar of laughter that went up to the ceiling of the bank. What decision has the author taken after the episode at the bank? After the episode at the bank, the author decided to keep his money in cash in his trousers pocket and his savings and silver dollars in a sock. Why did the author pretend to appear like a bad-tempered man? To hide his foolish mistake, the narrator pretended that somebody had insulted him in the bank and he attempted to look like a man with a fearfully bad temper. Vocabulary questions. Find out an example of a compound word from the passage. $50. Give the homophone of cent. So S-C-E-N-T or S-C-N-T, cent. Grammar questions. He gave me a $50 bill. Change the voice. A $50 bill was given to me by him, or I was given a $50 bill by him. As the big door swung behind me, I caught the echo of a roar of laughter. Rewrite using no sooner than. No sooner did the big door swing behind me, then I caught the echo of a roar of laughter. Since then I bank no more. Identify the word class of the underlined word. Bank is verb. I keep my money in cash in my trousers pocket. Use the WH word to frame a question to get this statement as the answer. So in my trousers pocket as an answer if you want. So where do you keep your money in cash? So this is a personal response question. Is the author's last decision wise? No. According to me, the author's last decision is not wise enough. This behavior of the writer simply shows that he is not confident in banking, which is absolutely fine. We can't know everything in the world, but it is absolutely wrong if we do not improve on it. He should learn the banking system properly and continue visiting banks. He should have learned to overcome his fear of banks. Find from the lesson the antonyms of the following: afterwards, beforehand, spending, earning, carefree, hesitating, withdraw, deposit, confidently, timidly, cheerful, sepulchral. Fill the blanks choosing the appropriate word idiom from the lesson. The dash solved the mysterious crime. Detective. In the examination, I did not know the correct option for the answer, so I became a hesitating J. He was dizzy and he shambled into the room. While arguing with his elders, he had made a wretched attempt to look like a man with a fearfully quick temper. The sight of a snake rattled him. As soon as I cross the threshold of my home, I greet my family. Using the following points, frame a character sketch of the narrator. Support each character trait with instances from the lesson. So first character sketch, you can say diffident and timid. The writer's salary had been raised to $50 a month and the bank was the only safe place for it. But he got diffident and timid to speak to the staff in that bank. Unusual behavior. When the narrator caught the sight of the accountant, his voice went sepulchral. He asked for the manager and added solemnly, alone. That was an unusual behavior of the writer. Ignorant about banking. The writer says the moment he crosses the threshold of a bank, he becomes a hesitating J. And if he has to transact business there, he becomes an irresponsible idiot. Nervous and careless. He gets nervous on receiving the checkbook to enter the amount to be withdrawn. The writer goes careless when he enters $56 in the check instead of just $6. Economical. The writer's attitude gets economical when he decides to keep his money in cash in his trousers pocket and his savings in silver dollars in a sock. Rewrite the following in indirect speech. Can I see the manager? I said. Certainly, said the accountant. I asked whether I could see the manager and the accountant replied in the affirmative. Come out, said the manager coldly. The manager ordered me coldly to go out. The words seemed to mean, let us do this painful thing while the fit is on earth. The words seemed to mean that we should do that painful thing while the fit was on us. What are you drawing it all out again? He asked in surprise. Yes, the whole thing, I said. He exclaimed in surprise and asked whether I was drawing it all out again. I replied in the affirmative that I would draw the whole thing. How will you have it? He said. In 50s, I said. He asked how I would have it and I replied that I would have it in 50s. Now read the statement, write your views first and counter view later in two separate passages. Online net banking is better than going personally to the bank for transactions. अब मैं आपको ये थोड़ी देर के लिए रख देती हूँ विदाउट रीडिंग, तो आप देख सकते हैं. व्यू पहले देख लीजिए और फिर उसके बाद में मैं काउंटर व्यू थोड़ा सा और ऊपर कर दूंगी, तो आप वो भी देख लीजिए. तो इसी के साथ ही मेरा ये चैप्टर का क्वेश्चन आंसर्स पार्ट भी खत्म हुआ। जल्द ही मिलेंगे अगले वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए स्टे सेफ, स्टे सिक्योर। थैंक यू।